Hello and welcome to the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Sr. And this platform was created to motivate and to inspire in hopes that you will become a better you. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that's listening all over the world. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Ross Cloud Podcast. Listen, we have a very, very, very special guest with us in the building. I hope I don't mess his name up. He's a photographer. He's a photographer, entrepreneur, just an amazing individual. What's happening, Jay Hen?
Hey, good afternoon, Ross. I thought you was gonna do the whole name when you said
right.
Mess it up.
That's what I was waiting on. I was like, okay, you pulling out the whole name.
Shorten it right up.
I wanted to shorten it up a little bit. Thank you for joining us on the Ross Cloud Podcast. It's been an honor and a pleasure meeting you these last couple of days. We had a great time when we first met. Absolutely amazing, Jay. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great. And that's Henighan. Henighan is the easy way to pronounce that. The silent H will throw you off in the middle.
I love it. Henighan.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I dare not forget my special co-host with us who is getting ready to launch his first podcast. I'm super elated to have him on here now, Mr. Deangelo.
Yo, what's good, Ross? It's good to be here.
I know, right?
Hold on, did you say co-host? I like that. I like that. Okay. I get the co-host with the big boss.
You've been drafted.
Yeah.
Watch out,
I like
man.
it.
Hey, listen, man, we all family here, and I thought to myself, man, what a great way to continue this introduction of who you are as an individual, as a person, because this is what this platform is all about.
Absolutely.
To help people become better through other people's stories and dialogue and conversations. And I think I have some very, very bright minds here today as we navigate through this conversation. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and start this out with Mr. Henighan here, who I almost said Hennessy. My mind was on some Hennessy.
I've gotten a Hennessy, Heineken, a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I love it, man. So if you would, man, take the time and kind of tell the folks exactly what you do.
It's a little tough. I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
No doubt.
Most recently, I've been a product owner for software. So that's been my 9 to 5 pay the bills job. I've been a photographer for about 20 years now.
Wow.
So photo, video, sports, weddings, events, artists. If you can shoot it, I probably did it.
Man, I love it.
Yeah.
Renaissance man.
I'm trying to be.
Yeah. Facts, man. I love it, man. Where'd you go to school at?
UNC Chapel Hill for college.
Okay.
I'm from Winston-Salem. So
Okay, then.
Yeah.
What school did you go to in Winston?
Parkland High School.
Okay, then. You know, they used to consider that the bad school.
Right.
Knuckles up, baby.
I mean,
Knuckle up.
you better know what you're doing when you go in there.
I'm trying to tell you. For real.
Yeah.
I went to North Forsyth.
I know some folk over there too. Now.
Yeah. It goes down.
Yeah.
Well, it used to.
Yeah. I've heard some stories
Yeah, it used to.
Of North or Parkland?
of North.
Okay.
Yeah, North. Yeah.
Yeah.
North Forsyth Viking. But boy, I tell you, the Mustangs, though. Whew.
I mean, we were known for a few things, some sports things.
Oh, absolutely.
We had a little academics too.
Yeah.
Is Parkland right off 52?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off of 40 and 52. Yeah.
Yes,
40
sir.
for Peters Creek right there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know
Yeah.
exactly where you're talking.
South side.
Yeah. South Trade.
That's it. Southside Trade. I love it. I absolutely love it. So when you went to school, Henighan, what was your major when you went?
I actually did graphic design. So going in, I was an art major.
Okay, then.
Studio art. I won an award like my senior year, and my art teacher's like, you can do commercial art, graphic design. If you go to a liberal school, you can still do that. Probably should have went to art school.
Okay.
Thinking back if I was going to do that.
Okay.
But I did that for about a year, and I found graphic design through the journalism school. So I changed my major and majored in journalism and visual communication.
Man, how befitting is that? You're sitting here on this podcast, though. It's beautiful, right? How destiny sometimes bring you right back to whatever that major is, or that other major that you probably wasn't quite sure, but you said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna put my irons back in the fire again and see what I can do with it. And I'm looking at this. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
It really is, because I didn't know that about you. It's always good to hear those interesting. It is, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I hadn't thought about it until you said it. So,
Yeah, man.
Because I didn't use my degree for I don't know, the first 10 years.
Any
Like
particular
Wow.
reason why?
well, you talk to the counselor and they tell you you can expect to make this much when you get out of school. Everybody
Always.
I think at the time, which is gonna make me feel old, but they was like you can make like 50, 60 grand fresh out of college, which was really good money.
Sure.
In what's that, 2001, 2002. So I'm like, okay, bet. I'm doing my little portfolio. You're getting stuff done. And if you have internships and you know people, it's possible.
No doubt.
But with that area in the Triangle, NC State has a great design school. You have Central, Duke, Carolina, all these colleges. They don't pay people to be entry level in design.
Wow.
Because I can pay you project by project and not have to cover your benefits and stuff. So you can work here. Well, we're not going to pay you.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing you a favor.
Right.
So
Yeah.
then after that, you stay for a year, you do a couple projects, then you can get entry level, and then maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, you can get actual salary. Well, I had a car note.
Yeah.
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 I had been doing advertising sales, getting out of college just to have a job. I had bills.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
without moving home or something like that, like I just couldn't do it. So that took me into sales, which took me more marketing.
Sure.
And then that took me into training. I applied for a sales job that got me into training multifunction devices and network systems and security. So
Oh, I love
that's
it.
how I got into IT. And then that just grew. So once
got
people
you.
know you can train and teach, that's just a different skill set in some tech businesses, especially if you can translate complex ideas.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so that pretty much moved me in that way. So I started photography as my side to do creative things.
Right, which
that's
that
dope.
that ignites the artist
Yeah,
in you
it does.
anyway. Go ahead and jump on in there, Deangelo.
I mean, because that pulls the fire out. Because that's kind of like me. I started out in school. A lot of people don't know this, but I have a whole forensic accounting degree.
What?
Yeah, so I went to
Wow,
school for
D.
forensic accounting. And so it was my thing of, okay, this is like your way to make the money. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that
Yeah.
deep down I'm an artist,
Yeah.
And for years, like I didn't work with my degree for a good 6-7 years, something like you. So
Really?
until I moved to New York, I never used my degree.
Yeah.
And even when I moved to New York, I ended up, it was crazy. I worked at a customer service as a customer service agent for a nonprofit.
Wow.
And then from there, the CEO knew that on my resume I had an accounting degree, and they had an opening in accounting. And so boom, they moved me over.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's just crazy. And then
Yeah.
now here I am, a whole entrepreneur
Yeah.
doing fashion and candles and all of this stuff. Because it's
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
whatever it is that's your passion and your drive is gonna always find you. And that's gonna always be the thing that actually pulls you out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that makes you money, but it also gives you this this feeling of being fulfilled.
Yes.
In life, you want to be fulfilled,
Yes.
especially as an artist.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Yeah, well, let me ask the both of you. I don't care who goes first. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that we all go to college and we go in with one thing saying, "I'm going to be a degree. I'm going to have a degree in this and in this and that." Why don't we pursue what it is? Because let me tell you guys something. For 25 years, I did the restaurant business. I wanted to be a professional chef. You probably didn't know that about me.
Did not.
No,
I did
not
the
at all.
restaurant business for 25 years, and culinary was my pursuit of happiness, if you would.
Yeah.
It was that thing that really woke me up in the morning. I was in love with the whole
Wow.
culinary, which fueled the artist in me. Of course. So I got to ask you guys, why? Don't you think? I have an answer, but I want you guys to go first because you guys are the guests.
I know my answer.
Okay.
I'm a Capricorn,
Okay.
and from what I'm told, I don't follow that too much.
You do the
but
research.
I know mine. I mean, I know the Capricorn stuff. I don't know everybody else's. I know mine.
Sure,
But
sure.
part of that financial security is a big part of being a Capricorn in general. And my mom and dad always talked about, for me, like money's always been a big thing for me.
That's right.
I don't need a lot of it, but I need to know where it comes from. I need to know when it's coming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once I
agree
have
with you.
that, I can eat peanut butter and jelly every day, as long as I know we got money for bread next week.
Facts.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It don't have to be steak or shrimp or whatever, but
I got you.
gotta know what's coming, and I could get $1 million next month,
Yeah.
and kind of know it's coming. But if I don't know what day, I'm worried.
I'm with you.
More so
I'm with you.
than if you told me I'm going to give you $100 next month, but it's coming on the 1st.
Right.
Wow.
I'd feel more comfortable with the $100 because I know what I'm
you know when it's coming.
I got you.
So for me, college, I knew I was going to college. My parents talked about college. My aunts and uncles, I had some professors in the family. You going to college.
Yeah.
It wasn't stressed quite as much what we're going to do after college. So, and when you're, I'm sure you had the same thing. When you're in classes, either gifted classes or classes that kind of steer you, it's almost assumed that you kind of know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
It is. Very
so
much
people
so.
say, hey, you look smart, son. Where you going to school? And you tell them, well, I'm going to go to Princeton.
Exactly.
What you going to do at Princeton?
I love
I'm going to be, and you say something you saw on TV. Or you say something you saw Uncle. Unless you've interned or had somebody who's mentoring you. Where you like my boy is a dentist. Knew he wanted to be a dentist from when he was like 6.
Wow.
So everything he did in high school was to be a dentist.
Sure.
He knew what he was going to do after college.
Yeah.
I'm there having a good time. I'm learning some stuff, having more of a good time.
Absolutely.
Learn a little bit more.
Absolutely.
So, but it was more about getting there, doing that, and you kind of think, for me, and this would be my question to you, if I do what I'm supposed to do based on what people have told me, things will just work out. So you go to college, you do what you're supposed to do, you get your degree, you show up, and then the jobs are like, that's nice. Right?
Yeah.
Do you have 3 years of experience? Well, no, sir. I just got out of college.
Yeah.
Do you have this? Like when they never told me that, they told me get A's.
Yeah.
They told me graduate and I could get this job. So you do that. You find a way in. You find a way for money.
Sure.
Then you get a little older.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's good to get in these jobs that aren't your passion early.
Yes.
So you can make your mistakes in something that's not your passion.
Man, I love that.
Right.
I love that.
So if you'd been a forensic accountant from the jump, you're good enough at it. You might, who knows where you'd be now, just itching to make a candle.
I know.
Right?
That's true.
And so for me, that was my thing. It let me travel. It let me meet people.
Sure.
I was able to use my skills for relationship management and things that I kind of had, but I fine-tuned.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I can talk in any room because I've been in a lot of rooms.
Sure.
So when I shoot, I could shoot the CEO of a company or I could shoot the mailroom and I'm going to be the same.
Exactly.
And usually those C-level people like that because I don't introduce myself to them.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the group.
Exactly.
Now it happens that the big man Ross is in the room, but like I'm going to talk to everybody that way. So for me, the answer to that question, we go because we think we're supposed to. And then you get to a point where you realize that passion is not pushing you.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to struggle, I want to struggle towards something that I want. And I'm okay if I don't make it there.
I like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about
Absolutely.
you, D?
It's the same way. I mean, honestly, I'm an only child. I'm my mother's only child.
Wow.
You know, I have a half brother. My dad has a son.
Okay.
But my mother really put routine in me and education. So for me, like I knew I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to go to school for music.
Gotcha.
My mama, ain't no money in that. You know, so you're always taught. You know, you want to go where the money is.
I got you.
And so from there, honestly, I wanted to be a nurse in the beginning.
Wow.
But when I got here to UNCG, I realized that was for the birds. Like that ain't what I want to do. As a CNA, I was like, this is not me.
That's hard work.
This is not me. This is somebody. Get somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
And so I went to the next thing that I was good at because I excelled in math in school. You know, being as you said in the gifted classes, everybody's just kind of like, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do?" I'm in trigonometry. You know, so I'm like, "Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, you doing
we
it.
can work it."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's when I made the change. But it really comes from being pushed within your parents, your household to say this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
This is the lane that you need to drive to be successful.
Yeah.
Because even knowing our parents grew up in a different age, right? They grew up in the textile age. They grew up where they had to put the work in to really see some growth and potential.
Yes, sir.
And, that's all they had. So for us, I look at it as a parent because now I have a 10-year-old child. I look at it as a parent and I'm like, dang, my parents taught me what they knew. They pushed me to do what they saw fit for their life in that moment, not realizing that life evolves
Yes,
and
it
that
does.
we can be whatever we want to be.
Yes.
So now I look at my daughter and I'm like, yo, what do you want to be? You don't have to choose what you want to be right now because you still have so many years to cultivate that.
Yeah.
And really, even if you don't want to go to college your first year, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because guess what? I wish that I wouldn't have. Because I feel like I spent a lot of unnecessary time learning some things that I really didn't need to learn. The brain capacity didn't have to be
That's
taken up by that information.
Yeah.
And if I knew now, I could just thrive off of
Wow.
I see
just
that.
doing the things that make me happy and figuring that out and then taking that and saying, okay, well, this is actually a trade. I can spend $4,000 for this 18-month course and pick up this trade and make more money than the people that actually got a degree.
Yeah.
Now, to that point, two things. A, I think it's better that we ask kids, what do you love or what makes you happy?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because we were asked, what do you want to do?
Yes.
We were.
You know, you got to do something.
That's right, Jay.
You're just not going to sit around here and not do nothing.
Not at all.
Yes.
And if you don't know what you want to do, you better have an answer. So then you pick something.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be an engineer. I didn't know what an engineer did when I was saying that.
Yeah.
I knew some cool engineers,
Yeah.
like, you know, uncles and friends.
Yeah.
That sounded like something I would do. And people would say, teachers, oh, yeah, I could see that for you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. You know, I'm gonna do that.
Right.
But I hadn't done anything to know that. So, but I loved, you know, I drew a lot. I liked painting. I love sports. Some of the relationship stuff I do, I probably should have gone into that type of law.
Wow.
Understanding that a lawyer doesn't have to be in a courtroom.
Absolutely.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Because in my mind, I knew that type of law. Don't want to do that. I went on an internship day for medicine with the high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, I was there 15 minutes.
It was like, this ain't for me.
I stood in the back, dude. Like, I walk with everybody.
Yeah.
This is real cool. Doctors make great money, but now I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
there's too much blood around here, other fluids and stuff. Like, it just, in chemistry and all that, it just didn't strike me.
Yeah.
And we should be doing that part. Like, it's okay to rule that out.
Yeah.
Now, you got to trade. And that's kind of how my parents treated us with sports and with activities. You don't have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're going to do something. So we either going to choir rehearsal at church.
Come
or
on,
we
man.
going to practice.
Yep.
Or you going to pick up a math tutor.
Yep.
Yes.
Or we look. But Tuesday at 6, you're going to be doing something.
Doing
Yeah.
So you needn't think that's going to be quitting and staying home.
Yeah.
So that part, I think, would help us steer us in a better direction if we're looking at that. Because if you're starting at that point knowing what you love, it's easy for you to say, okay, well, I want to do fashion. The best way for me to do fashion is to make this little money doing accounting 9 to 5. And gradually I'm going to slide over to where I'm doing fashion the whole time,
exactly.
which is what we all end up doing at some point anyway.
That's true.
It's just we're 30
Especially
something
if you
most
have it in
time.
you.
There you go.
Yeah. It was there.
Yeah. And that's what when I opened the studio, it's been 10 years now. And that was my thought then. It was, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. I didn't really have the business skills at that time to run it fully. And I was traveling so much for work. And then I switched jobs. It just kind of fell apart. But I'm glad I did it because now I do know the parts that I did good in. I know the parts that I could use some help. So I would need an accountant. I know that.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't manage me and the business and the money.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
I got you.
If I started a restaurant, I would need someone who's going to do the food because that's not my thing.
That's not your thing. Yeah.
And so now I know that, and I know how to grab other people and pull them into the dream.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, man, I love this, first of all. And I'm glad this is happening right now because when I think back on, to both of you guys' point, when I think about my upbringing, my mom's an educator. She's an English teacher. So then she went on to college and furthered her education and ended up getting her master's degree in English. My mom's thing with us was always, she had an idea for us to go to college. But in her introducing us to Upward Bound and the arts, she did a lot in the arts. She had a love for the arts, spoken word, poetry, literature on the whole, which is arts, which really it is. So my mom, it's so funny, she exposed us to the arts at an early age. That was her thing. She did acting. She worked at the National Black Theater Festival. She created this monologue of this old lady and was traveling in different churches doing this old lady by the name of Annie Lou. And she would perform that old lady in those performances. And we sung all of our life. So she was like, yeah, get out there and sing. She taught us how to sing. We joined choirs. I was in the show choir. I was in chorus. I did all of these things. And it's so funny because it never even dawned on me to even start in theater at all. With all of that exposure to it, all of the years we went to plays, going to see Dick Gregory and Nikki Giovanni and all of the people that in our culture, we revere as someone that's prominent in our community, especially black. You know what I'm saying? With excellence, you know. And so Mom was very strategic in that. And it's funny because I didn't get back into the arts. I don't want to make this about me, so but just trying to explain this whole thing that we're talking about now. Culinary is what I wanted to do, but life, you see what I'm saying? And this right here just kind of, in a sense, it woke me up in the middle of the night, and I've been going hard ever since with it, and I absolutely love it to the point where I would do it for free. Yeah. That's when I knew I really was passionate about it. Yeah. Until, here recently I've learned a lot about the business side of it. Oh, no, you can make some money. Right. So, but that wasn't the focus. Yeah. And it wasn't about me being able to fund this thing that I'm doing. It wasn't about that. I really enjoyed it. Right. We hear people say, money is not everything. Money is not, and it's not. But that passion, I promise you, it will get you to the bag, as they say. It'll get you to the money. Of course. Yeah. So at any rate, to kind of piggyback and go back to what we was talking about, I think it does start with our parents. Our parents are the one who are at the forefront. Our parents, they grew up in the 60s, during that era, 50s, where they saw it everything. So it was either education, or boy, do something. Work hard, get you a good factory job, get a 401k, and take care of your family. And if you're from Winston-Salem, then get in at Reynolds.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so my dad was.
Yeah. Work at Reynolds and stay there, or Haynes.
Reynolds,
Haynes, Textile, Wachovia, Douglas Battery, Johnson Control. Yeah. Those were the jobs that. If you graduated from high school, hey, man, them the jobs you need to get, because you literally can take it.
Longevity.
You got longevity.
And if you can get 5-10 years in,
come on, man,
you're going to make more money than college degrees.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Generally.
It's hard work, but you're going to make that
money. You're going to make that money. Yeah. You can make a quarter.
Thomasville Furniture.
Yes, man.
All of those, yeah.
Wow. All of those, man. So I totally agree with the both of you. I think life happens sometimes, and we literally just quit on it. And then we just kind of lose sight of that goal or what we thought was our passion. And when I look back on the culinary field, well, it's hard on your feet, hard on your back. And I'm like, man, I'm 52. I don't think I can stand on my feet for 20 hours because it's going to take that type of dedication a day, probably.
Right. Yeah.
16, 20-hour days, So when I look back on it, this is the perfect thing for me to be doing right now. And I absolutely love it. So let me tell you guys something, man. I'm so glad that we're having this conversation. And it leads me back. It's a great way to piggyback and go back to Jay when he was talking about some of the things that he did do. You got into software and all of that stuff, too. If you will kind of talk about that a little bit as we continue to build on why didn't we do this when we got out of college? But I think it's amazing because you actually had a good career with it. Yes. So if you would kind of expound on that just a little bit.
Well, it's crazy because it's to both points. Because my mom was a computer information systems teacher for 30 years at the Career Center in Winston-Salem. So you remember the Career Center?
Yes.
Yeah. So when they opened it, my mom was one of the first teachers there when she got out of Winston-Salem State. So technology from its inception has been in my house. Like, printers with the little dots on the side, all the way up through the first internet with the router. You come up the hall here and there. Exactly. So
all that noise.
So we did that, and that was one of her things. So she had other passions, but that was a steady job when she got out of school. She had some autonomy there as you don't get at the regular schools, and she didn't have to do some of the stuff like coaching and all that because it's a vocational school.
I got you.
She also was trained as like a vice principal, some of those things. So she kind of moved us that way.
Sure.
So much in that same way, I come out of school. First job was advertising sales. They didn't have any technology they were using. They had a computer in the office, but they were like writing proposals for advertising. It was crazy. It was crazy. And this is like 2001. So there was plenty of people doing electronics.
Yeah.
So I, being a design major, you know, I'm coming from campus and like we got the state of the art computers on campus.
Yeah, man.
So I worked from there. And I told my boss, like, I'm not coming here. Like, your computer is a home computer it's basically dial-up. We got T1. We got a whole lab where I can print what I want. Like, I'm going to be there. So that started, I guess, tech consulting, if you will, for me. And that's what I've been in every single job. Because you get there and you ask, like, why are we doing it this way?
Yeah.
Which that led to process improvement, which I do at every job.
Yeah.
And then change management comes in because somebody don't want to change. The reason they're doing it that way is somebody here don't want to change.
Yeah,
they like the way it is they know how to use it. And they'd prefer it be better, but I'm not trying to learn nothing new.
Yeah.
So those led me to other jobs. I actually substitute taught in Winston. I moved home. I had a car accident after college, which kind of threw off some of my work history.
Sure.
But I moved home, and I was trying to get my money right. I was dating, ended up getting engaged a couple of years after that. But part of that was like, let me just stack some money at home.
Sure, man.
My mom's a teacher.
Okay.
She's like, well, while you looking,
makes sense.
Going down into the school and sub. So subbing all over, and which was cool. And middle school was cool. They looked for black males specifically because we know there's not enough black male teachers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those kids do respond. All the kids of all races, all sexes do respond when there is another voice to say, hey, that's enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Whether it's a fight or just arguing or big, whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
I did like that part. But the money just wasn't there.
Sure.
I was actually offered one at Parkland.
Yeah.
The tech teacher was leaving for another school and was like, I will put you in personally to the principal. But the money just wasn't there. So I go to Rico, which is a copier company. Applied for sales.
Yes,
have
sir.
a sales background. And the manager's like, look, man, I see here you substitute taught. I have a training job. And it pays this much set salary.
Sure.
The sales job pays a lot less, but the commission possibility is more.
Sure.
So it really just depends on, do you have time to build a funnel and do all that, or do you need the money right now? So that's how I got in training.
Okay,
Nice.
gotcha.
And then that led me to certifications with, securities and networks and A+ and Net+ and Microsoft and all that stuff. So that's when I really got into tech. Next job, my friends actually owned a software company. Shout out to ShareNote.com.
Okay, all right.
At the time, when I think we were the only black-owned electronic health record in the country for a behavioral health agency. So,
I love it.
And that grew huge in the 8 years I was there. I think they were at maybe 15 or so when I left.
Yeah.
Should be around 20 now for the company.
Mm-hmm.
But so then that turned into training and consultation and some sales and conferences and just all kinds of stuff. So it's really just that flow. And like you said, it just brings you back to where the thing that you were doing that you didn't want to do always comes up in some other way.
Always comes up, man. Which I absolutely love, because guess what? I hear all the elements of your mom in that. You ended up, you still was teaching.
Exactly.
It brought you right back to being a facilitator of whatever it is that you decided to do. You still ended up being that leader that your mom raised. You know what I'm saying? Father, whatever. You still ended up doing that same thing. It's beautiful to watch.
It is.
I swear it's just amazing to see us evolve. And I don't care how old you are, It's like every year you evolve as a person, especially if you want to grow.
I was going to say you have to want to grow, though.
Come on.
You have to want to evolve.
Yeah.
Because some people just enjoy being stagnant. And that's okay for them.
Yeah.
I would say every year you change.
Okay.
And if you want to grow, you evolve.
There we go.
I like that.
There we go. I like that.
That.
Yeah.
Because, it's been some years I ain't grown. I'll be honest.
Man, talk about it.
And those are the
yes, sir.
Those are the rough years.
Those are the rough years.
When you figure out at the end of that year, it's like, man, I just been sitting here.
Just wasted a whole year.
And then you that's literally how I got here.
Yeah.
Because
I got you.
I've been kicking podcast ideas around way before they were the thing.
Yeah.
Actually, Chris Lee is local. He's on the news now in Raleigh, but he was for 102 Jams.
Okay, cool.
First guy I knew personally to actually do one. And he basically just said, like, I just want to do one. Like, you don't have to reach nobody. I just want to do one.
Yeah.
And so I remember hearing his, and I thought, I should do that.
Yes.
But I'm just... The benefit to me is that I cover all topics.
Yes.
The problem is I cover all topics.
But you know what, though? I think that's great to have that, because what happens is you can cover it all. And with you having the ability to cover it all, you definitely are going to have to people to, you definitely are going to have, I'm trying to get it together.
Get it together. It's all right. It's all right. Get it together.
You definitely are trying to reach, a full spectrum of individual, very diverse group of individuals. But in that, you're going to have some people who are going to be objective to what you say, which is going to spark even a better conversation. So I think it's just about what you're doing. What you're doing right now is a beautiful thing because you're provoking thought. You know, that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of myself as being someone that would get into critical thinking. I probably couldn't have done it in my younger days because I was immature and hot-headed, and anger would have been at the forefront. So it wouldn't have happened.
Right.
Things would have been thrown and fights would have been happening, and it's not good when that happens on a podcast because it's all about maturity.
I don't know. It might get some clicks and some views though.
And that's a whole nother subject.
There we go.
Because some people, that's what they look for.
They do. They look for it. I'm like, why are we like this?
Drama only. Yeah.
Yes, but you're right though.
Yeah.
That would spark clicks if somebody threw a mug across the room.
Absolutely.
Man.
I probably click and be like, "What happened at the Ross?
I see.
Ross Cloud podcast? They doing that? Like,
I absolutely. Like, and this is just an age thing, I think. As I got older, I just don't want to deal with negativity at the level that I won't click it. And my journalism background, I always tell people that it pisses me off when I read headlines that are like purposely written, you know, clickbait.
Yeah.
And the whole industry slides that way because, I mean, it works more often than it doesn't.
It does.
But just knowing how headline processes go for like a New York Times or somewhere who's supposed to know better, that part just frustrates me.
Yeah.
And so like, we've all clicked something where it's like, you know, fight on the Ross podcast. What happened? And then you look at it and there's no fight.
There's no fight.
It's like you talking about the simulated fight.
Right.
And so now you done made me click on this for nothing that wasn't even there.
And we see it.
Yeah. So I hate that part. Yeah. If the value isn't there, that you have to lie and add, like, I won't come back once. Like, you get one of those from me.
That's it.
I never click that again.
Hey, you know what? I'm so glad. You know how valuable this is to have somebody with a journalistic background on your show that you actually can learn from. I'm just thinking about how God worked. Because here's the thing that one thing that I do believe: nothing happens just to be happening. And it's so ironic that both of the mutual friend that we both know, how it's amazing how somebody could see exactly what you're doing, and it's like there could be a benefit for the both of them with this. Let me connect the two of them, because if you think you know it all, then you got a problem. It's always room to grow. There's always room to get better. That's just crazy, though, Jay. I'm telling you, blown my mind, bro, because I didn't know that about you. And when we first met, we
didn't talk about that.
We didn't. We just had a conversation with the headphones on, no recording.
Yeah,
we just sat here and just talked, and it was very organic. But see, that's what you have to do. I tell people that. No, I ain't gonna record it, man. It's just throw it on, man.
Yeah,
and see how this thing flows.
Right.
And usually 9 times out of 10, I remember when he told me that. Well, you know my journey. So I remember when I first wanted to do it. I didn't know anything about podcasting, so I had to do it through a nonprofit organization to learn. Well, I didn't make any money. I had to do it for free for a year, and it was cool because I learned a lot along the way. But I picked up gems along the way. Well, how much this cost? What's the high quality stuff? What can I afford? What's my budget going into this?
Right.
So to see what I was a part of, but to also see what I've evolved to myself.
Beautiful.
From what I've learned.
Yeah.
So I'm big on that. So yes, sir. You definitely come back as much as you want to, Jay. What? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I love it because I pride myself on not being too edgy. I try to have a little class in there, although I have a few people who want me to go a little edge, throw a little edge in there. Look at Deangelo.
You want some edge?
Just a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
Just a little bit.
Because he knows the conversations we have outside of this, and he's like, man. You know,
and that was one of the ones because, like, I'll be talking to my friends. I'm sure we all three have done this.
Sure,
you're having a conversation and you be like, "Man, this should have been a podcast."
Yeah,
right.
Whatever it was. Now, my problem is, some of those better ones is stories I don't want to tell,
Absolutely.
Or they can't tell.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how can
part.
you get the version to where you
know
could
what?
publicly disseminate that information?
Kind of
You know what I mean?
dial it down a little bit. Take the
Everything can't go
Sasson
there.
off of it.
Yeah.
Makes it plain.
It's funny you said that because I actually said that not the same way, but verbatim. I said the same thing to Deangelo. I just don't know how I can articulate that the proper way so it won't be, divulging of too much information.
Well, you got to take yourself out of it partially.
That is true.
Talk about it.
So typically, and I'll speak more to training. So like when I would train people, usually you're training because somebody messed up. Just generally, like whether you're getting coached or whatever, like you're trying to learn something you don't know.
Yeah.
So I won't tell you this company did this so bad that, they went to jail for fraud. What they did. I'm trying to tell you, you need to understand it's possible that this can happen. I heard this one time. So like pretty much every story I tell starts with a friend of mine or someone told me something like that. Now some of them are me, some of them are you, some are you. But
I like it.
But I start the same way every time.
I like that. I like that.
And that way I can distance.
That, just so you know.
Right? So distance yourself from the story
bag.
so that you can tell it. And honestly, if you think about it that way, we were talking about growth earlier. When you take yourself out of it, it sounds funny.
Yes.
Because, you had an opinion.
Absolutely.
Right.
So you did what you did because you had an opinion.
Absolutely.
But if you take yourself out of it, you tell that same story. Sometimes you hear that story different and be like, ooh, I didn't realize I said it that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Or now I understand why they heard it that way.
Right.
Since I'm not in it.
Yeah.
But I'm telling
it's
you.
so funny, and it's so funny because that's absolutely what I do. Because Deangelo looked at one of my episodes. He actually studied it and actually watched me, and he was like, do you realize what you said? And I'm like, no, I'm just enjoying it. And sometimes you don't realize what you're saying because you're just in the moment of it. You know, you're having a real conversation with real people.
Yeah.
And you're being very, very direct and very honest without it hurting feelings, if you would.
Yeah.
Although sometimes that can be difficult if people are not mature enough to handle that. But if you spend about 10 minutes with someone, 5-10 minutes, maybe not even that much, you can kind of pick somebody out and say, oh, yeah, they can handle this if we had this conversation.
Right. Yeah.
So the importance of having that conversation before you actually sit down, learning them for maybe a couple of minutes. It doesn't always work, though.
I can see that. I like typically now, and this is, I don't know if it's, I'm turning to an angry old man or what, but I
Join the club.
I don't be caring no more. Like I'm gonna say it, well, because I'm gonna be respectful. Like I'm not disrespectful.
Yes.
And if you've been around me and throughout the conversation, I would hope that comes off. That even if what I said felt disrespectful, I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
No,
exactly.
no.
So I'm going to, as clinical as I can say it,
Sure, man.
so that it doesn't come off as overly emotional, as much as I can control it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you or say what I got to say.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
were
yeah.
talking about politics and race and stuff last time.
Yes, we were.
That's how I have that conversation because I do care.
Yeah.
And my voice is probably gonna go up, like we said, and then, you're gonna catch yourself down a rabbit hole.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
But I'm gonna be as honest as I can be, and I'm gonna let you do that as best as I can, and
Yeah.
I'll apologize if I didn't do it right.
Yeah,
But I'm not gonna warn you.
No, we just gonna have a conversation.
Right? Yeah, because there are conversations that need to be had. And what I found, especially politics, race, relationships, people aren't being 100% honest when they have a conversation with someone they trust.
Yeah.
So not
I
you.
like that.
Right? So me and you, we just met. It's different when we
Yes.
have a conversation.
Yes.
But if my friend is going to sit there and let me say that, knowing
That
I don't mean that, or knowing he know, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I
you just
do.
let me slide.
I do.
You missed an opportunity to help me grow.
Yep.
And I have 2 or 3 really good friends now
I like that.
that I call them just to talk every now and again because they'll break in on it. Hold on a second. Now you said last time, that you wasn't going to talk to her, or you wasn't going to go here, or you wasn't going to take
man.
that job.
Yeah.
Now, did your feelings change? They're not going to judge me.
Yeah.
But just clarify for me where you
No.
are now, because before you said this and now you said
Yeah.
that. What's up?
Yeah, I love a good friend that holds you accountable.
I
for
do
what
too.
You
Got
say.
to.
I do
Like
too.
for real,
I do
and
too.
it's important because that does help you grow. Like that changes the whole perspective of just like how you
Yes.
think sometimes. Because it's
It
like,
does.
yo, did I really?
Yeah.
Was I really thinking like that? Okay,
Yeah.
and that goes back to what you were saying. Like
Yeah.
I really was thinking like that, and they heard it that way. So now that you've corrected me, I can correct that, and I
Yeah.
can continue to grow and develop as
Yeah.
we grow this
Yeah.
relationship.
And do y'all feel like that friend, for me, other situations that you know you're going to report to your friends, you treat them a little different because you know you got to tell them.
You got to tell them.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tell them.
Like I can't do that because he gonna ask.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to tell him what I did.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then he gonna say like,
Like,
it's
why
almost
you
like
do
having
that?
another parent,
Yeah.
or uncle,
Yeah.
that you could just tell your stuff to.
Sure.
And he gonna check you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it though, because me and to your point, me and Deangelo have had conversations, and he's came in and told me some raw stuff that I needed to change. And just raw and uncut from an entrepreneur standpoint, from equipment standpoint, just a lot of things that I knew, but I was being complacent. And I was always taught from my mom, if they care about you, if they love you, to your point, they'll tell you the truth. They'll tell you like, yo, you need to do this. But I also feel like when that happens, that is when you begin to see the paradigm shift happen in your life too. You begin to be around different people and different minds. Because I feel like every time you go up, if you're not being challenged every time you go up, then there's no growth. I want to be around people who know more than me, who can challenge me, who's smarter than me.
Yeah.
I've had people correct me and say, Ross, you could have said it this way, dude. Come on, man. Say it differently. I didn't get mad. You're right. I do need to say it differently. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're trying to get to set a bar for yourself and go far and beyond. And you know what you want for yourself. So if they're telling you that, they're challenging you.
Absolutely.
So accept the challenge, do what you need to do, and just make the change.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I would rather, I always used to wonder coming up why millionaires, billionaires, or just successful people, it appeared that they were being assholes. They're not being assholes. What they're literally doing is pushing you to do better. Everybody needs a good asshole in their life, though. I think so. I think everybody needs an asshole on the team, because what that's going to do is, first of all, it's going to bring balance to the room. It is. And then it's going to challenge you. Either you're going to fall out of the race and quit, or you're going to keep pressing till you get where you need to go.
It shows you who your true players are. And
I agree.
Who the strong people are on your team, especially when you throw someone in there that challenges them.
Come on,
those
man.
people that fall off, it's like, you weren't meant to be on this train.
Right.
You weren't ready to accept the challenge.
Yes.
So it's always good to have those types of players on your team.
And I would rather be around people who I don't have to worry about what they're thinking. Like,
that's why I like that.
I don't have to worry about whether or not you hate me, whether or not you're jealous. I would rather know if you just didn't like me.
Right.
I can kind of deal with you then. I can kind of deal with you
I'm
that
cool
way.
with some people who we don't get along.
Yeah, you don't get along.
It's clear.
Right. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It really is. We're adults here.
Yeah.
You can't expect for me to like everybody, you to like everybody, and vice versa. Absolutely. It's okay.
And if it's about function, I care more. You know what I mean? Because I think about like you said, like a millionaire or a business owner or something like that.
Yeah,
and I had some friends who were like that, and they were kind of dry. But I look at it in the terms
I love
of
that term, dry.
You know what I mean? Like they were just dry. Like I can't tell if you try to help me or hurt me, whatever.
Right.
But I choose to look at that like my time's valuable. So me as a photographer now, so I've been doing it long enough. Some 18-year-old says, I don't want to go to college. I want to be a photographer. I bought this little, point and shoot camera from Best Buy. Sure. And can you help me? I mean, well, you ain't showing me nothing.
Right.
I ain't seen no work. You got a point and shoot camera. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I might not jump on that and say, sure, come to the studio. Let's talk. My man Ross has somewhere we can shoot. I'm not doing that, because if I bring him here, that's your resources and your time. You can't do your part. Like, everybody's given to you, and what have you given?
I love that.
Yeah.
So I get that part.
I love that, yes.
At the same time, I'm going to make sure I ask a few questions, and I need to figure out where you are, basically. And if you're literally just starting, and I can say, okay, well, here's what you do first. Check out this free online resource for education, get you some pictures, whatever. Come back in a month and show me what you've done.
Yes.
If they do it,
yeah.
Okay, well, that kid's ready to work.
Yeah.
Let me help you figure this out. Everybody don't need to go to college.
Yeah.
But if you come back and, oh, man, I had, and this and I had, and I was doing it, and the thing, and what happened? Like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
And I relate that to the teams that you said, as someone on the team.
Yes.
So I also coach basketball.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So my favorite coaches, and what I try to be, is honest.
Yes.
You know, and that's not always good for you. You know, yeah, you made that layup, but I saw you drag that foot. And the team didn't see it. Everybody cheered. Yay, great.
I did.
But you said you want to go to the next level, wherever that is. We could be third grade going to fourth grade.
I like it.
Right.
If you want to get there, at some point, they're going to call that. And that's how my dad treated us.
Yes.
You know, I'm shooting on a 7-foot goal because that's what they do at the Y. He's like, well, they don't play on 7-foot goals. So you might as well start practicing on 10 foot.
Yes, sir.
You can always hit 7.
Yes, sir.
But next year you go up and here you're going to have to learn something again.
Yeah.
Right? So let me push you.
Yeah.
And being honest with people enough to say, hey, man, you're great. Like, you are awesome.
Yes.
But if you want to get to that next level, like you said, or like at least from what I've seen, this is what I think you need to do. And if they're already there and they're willing to tell me that, hey, tell me more.
Tell me more.
And that's like even with, I don't know if y'all seen the movie King, the Venus and Serena Williams.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. King
So
Richard,
like,
Yeah.
So the fact that this man would take their trophies and he would put them away.
Yeah.
He told them, he was like, yeah, you won this trophy, but that doesn't make you the best.
No, not
like,
at all.
don't stop here. Just because you see this trophy, that doesn't mean that it's a time for you to stop. We're going to put them up so you can, you won't look at these as tokens. You got to work hard to get another one. And you just keep working hard until you reach the top.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why those girls are as amazing as they are. Well,
I
women.
agree.
That's the reason why those women are as amazing as they are.
Yeah.
Because they have that work ethic. It's like he told them the truth. Yeah, you did good. But guess what? You can do better.
Yeah.
So let's go do better.
Yeah.
And
I
real
love
talk, I thought some of that, I mean, obviously that's our generation as far as us growing up.
Yes.
So there's a little bit of abuse there.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a touch.
Just a
But-
little bit.
But if
of
we're
abuse.
honest, everybody who's, quote, special that we know of and think of as special,
yes.
especially athletes,
Yes.
has a story like that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Either they woke you up and said, you say you want to go to college, we running at 5 in the morning. And they get up and run with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, you know, the tennis or like, I'm going to take your trophies. I'm going to do, you know, you're not better than anybody just because you won this thing. Like that type of thing.
Yeah.
Even a lot of business people I know who do better, they're the same way.
Yes.
You won that contract. Great job. What's in next week's funnel?
Yeah. What's next?
Right.
Yeah, like,
Right.
and did you deliver what you said you delivered to them?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then you're not going to get that one next time, and that's going to cost you another contract.
Yeah.
So having that diligence to just say, I'm going to focus on this and keep trying to get better.
Yes.
And not patting people on the back. I think that young age, what'd you say, maybe through middle school?
Yep.
Yeah.
If you get that type of education through maybe middle school, when you start to mature and can do it yourself, that's how I think you get to that next level.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Me and Jamal was just having this conversation earlier. I was like, I purchased these cameras, you know, and I'm sitting here like, I am not a photographer. But here's the beauty of that. There is YouTube University and Google University.
Absolutely.
And directions inside of the packet.
Yeah.
And then I have enough friends who are photographers, videographers, and I can ask questions. I can ask about lighting.
Yeah.
But it's not going to work until I come in here and I actually put my hands to the till and turn them cameras on
That's what I was gonna
and
say.
set these lights and look and say, oh, that's a good look. Like I've been doing these last couple of days. And the outcome for myself has been like, oh my God. And this is just beginning stages. So I think it's very, very important to both of you guys' point. You know, Frederick Douglass, he taught himself, self-taught Negro. So if he can do everything that he did, if we can live by that same blueprint, we see it across the board, though, with us. We are amazing individuals.
Absolutely.
Black folks.
Absolutely.
We really are.
Yeah.
We don't give ourselves enough credit, but,
Well,
you know.
and to that point,
Go ahead.
I feel like, for me at least, you tell me if you hit this too, because you're doing, with the creative part, I'm sure there's a little bit more leeway there.
Yeah.
But for me, I need things to go right way more often than I was willing to admit.
Okay.
So if you don't know they'll go right, you're going to treat it one way, right? And in some cases, you don't even start until you think it will.
Yeah.
And your point that I hear there, the best photograph you could take is the one you just took. The best camera is the one you're holding. And the best light is what you got right now. I mean, just being honest.
Literally.
And the more you do, the more context you have to make a change. Because if you had called me and said, hey, you use lights, right? And asked me questions. it may have meant something to me, and I could have told you what I think you should do.
Sure.
But it's better. I mean, I haven't been in the room.
No,
so in your case, what my information might not have been what's right. It's better that you take it.
Yeah.
Have that bad picture. Send it to me. Hey, man, look at this.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Like, go ahead and fail.
Go ahead and fail.
Let it not be perfect, and then keep doing it. And I know that, but that's not something I always exercise. So I'm trying to do better. Like, even for you, if you told me your business concerns, I could help you. Better than I can help me. We can have the same concerns.
And it's crazy. I don't know why it works that way.
Crazy.
I don't know why it works that way, because it's very much the same way with me. Like, I can get stuck on a garment. I can get stuck on a candle idea, and I will not start it until I know that it's going to come out the way it needs to come out.
Sure.
But I also know that I operate in this thing of perfection. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like you can't expect for everything to be perfect. Like, you hit the nail on the head. It's like you gotta have some mistakes in order to know where you're gonna go and how to grow.
Exactly.
Because if you don't make the mistake, you don't know how to ever fix a situation that may come up.
Yeah.
So question for y'all then.
Sure.
So in that sense, I read a lot of Brene Brown, especially during the pandemic, because she had a podcast going. It was you had nothing else to do. So I learned a lot about myself.
Right.
But one of those things about that value and that perfection is it's almost like if it's not perfect, then I'm going to seem less. So do you think that's partly why, in your case, for the fashion part, like, is that why you can't start it? Because if it fails, then that means, it's a check mark against me, so to speak.
It takes the value down on who I am as a designer.
Exactly.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think... Okay, so social media notoriety and things like that. Yeah. When you have stuff like that happens, it kind of plays a part. It's a major point in your life, and so like you always feel like you got to meet that mark. Everything has to be of a certain scale of excellence, in order for it to really be on brand. And that's how it feels to me sometimes. And some people be like, oh my God, that dress is so amazing, or oh my God, that outfit was so dope. And I'm sitting there like, well, it had this wrong and this wrong and this wrong. They don't know that. I know that.
You know that,
but it's a thing of just enjoy your art. Enjoy your art. And that's what I'm learning to do. I'm learning to enjoy the process. Because I feel like even when it comes down to like growing up, like education was hard. You could not bring home a C. Like in my house, there was no such thing as a C. A B minus was pushing it. Okay, it was pushing it. So I kind of grew up on that thing of it has to hit the high mark, and so that's kind of trickled over into my adult life, and even when it comes down to me as an entrepreneur and as an artist, it has to be to a certain level of excellence before I feel like it could ever be released.
Wow,
I feel you, and I'm fighting that because of the other part you said. You're always going to find something wrong with it. And so I had to change that meter and that judgment. Like I shot something at my parents' church, my church in Winston, like church anniversary, something small. And I was trying to buy a new camera, but I didn't have it yet. And I love to have like the newer stuff. I feel like it's going to do, it's going to work so much better than old stuff. And there's lower lighting. So, I did it. I shot it. I thought it was okay. Nothing major.
Sure.
But when I'm telling you, I go back to church next week and everybody, oh man, those pictures are so amazing. And I would not have put that anywhere near the top of even church events that I shot before.
I got you.
And so that's when I realized, like, let them love the dress. Let them love the shirt. Let them love the styling. Let them love the picture. Let them love the guest, whoever.
Sure.
Because every time that I diminish that when they give me a compliment, I was just trying to do like you. I'm basically telling you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Because you loved it.
Exactly.
That's right.
So I'm gonna let you love it.
That's right.
And I'm gonna do as much as I can. I'll prepare as best I can. And really, sports helped me there. It's the one place I can do all this that we're talking about. And probably because I loved it more when I was younger.
Sure, man.
I never got my last growth spurt. I was supposed to get 4 more inches. And if I had, we wouldn't be having this conversation. No, my dad is 6'4", and his brother is 6'5". So my whole life, me and my brother thought we were going to be 6'3", 6'4".
Oh, man, I love it, man.
So in sport, hard worker. I do understand that, it's better to make a decision and do the best you can now and just deal with the consequences. So a lot of things I teach when I'm consulting or teaching people comes from that. And I'm constantly trying to apply that to my actual life. You know what I mean? Like, because I know it's there. And I'm sitting there judging myself as I don't do it right. Now, you know better. Like, you're supposed to just get that. But like that value in make the best choice you can. keep moving forward. In team sports, like rely on your teammate to do their job. Trust them. They may not.
That's right.
But if you don't trust them and you try to do their job, you're going to mess up both your jobs.
Exactly.
And that's your fault.
Yep.
Where at least if you do yours, maybe you can support them. And over time, they're going to learn and we can help the next person.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like that team aspect of life, I think, especially creatively, that's probably why I go back to creative stuff is because they are teams.
Yes.
And when you have a team, you do have some support, you do have some backup,
Yes.
and it's always a little bit better, easier to grow.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and then this is the other thing as an artist, when you put out something, and this is what I'm realizing, when you put out something, those people are expecting it to come out, right?
Yes,
but those people that are expecting it to come out are going to think it's amazing regardless.
Yes.
Because those are your people.
That's why they picked you.
That's
exactly.
They picked you for that project because they wanted to see what you would do.
Exactly.
Yes,
and so when it comes out, it's like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. And you sitting there like, yeah.
Okay.
And to your point, like I don't diminish that anymore. I used to a while back.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, well, I did this and I did that. But no, now it's like, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I take that and I'm like, okay, that's another nugget in the box for me,
So question for y'all too.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Like I have an idea of why we self-diminish outside of just the creative part. Why do y'all think that is? Or should I tell you mine first and then you tell me if you like it?
I'll say mine. I feel like it's a society push.
Okay.
I feel like right now in society, everybody's seeking perfection. You have everybody that's going out, doing things to their bodies. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's either in the gym, they're on somebody's table.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're using filters.
Yeah.
That's what life is right now. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's kind of where it is, but also, again, it's all about how you're brought up too. You know what I'm saying? I feel like perfection was kind of pushed as a child.
Yeah.
So you kind of grow with that. And even though you get older and you get a mind of your own, those things that you were taught as a child are still back there. And it's kind of hard to do that shadow work to get rid of those childhood memories and values and morals and things like that. So I think that kind of still trickles over, but then society still plays a part, especially if you haven't disconnected yourself from social.
I think I agree with that. I think for me in the beginning, I used to think that it diminished my value until I really got healed. And I'm going even deeper, I think sometimes we can take that type of trauma into whatever it is that we're doing. And what happened was now I live by this word causation. It's a legal term, cause and effect. So now I live my life, well, I messed up over here, but this is why I did it. Here's the cause of it, and here's the effect of it. What am I going to do to change it? So I look at my life now, when I do this, everything is trial and error. I know I'm good at what I do, but am I perfect? Hell no. I know I'm not. I know there's room for improvement. I would rather now people tell me, I don't care how hard it is to hear. When we did the National Black Theater Festival, oh man, good job. I was like, okay, cool. I knew it was the first time we had done something on that large of a scale. Did the Charlotte Black Film Festival. Oh, good job. But hit a bump. You need to do this, and this. So I feel like every time you go up higher, you're going to hit that roadblock where somebody's going to say, hey, yeah, you're good. But this is what you need to do to fix it. But it didn't diminish me.
Yeah.
The talent was there. It was the other things that I needed to work on.
Yeah.
There was some other skill sets that needed to be put in place.
And that enhances the talent.
And it enhances the talent. That's just like my mom, English teacher. My mom called me and she was like, God, you are amazing at what you do. You articulate so well. But man, if I use a noun or a adverb,
it's artistic license.
Oh,
I'm a poet.
Right. And I'll say something wrong, and my mom would say, I thought it was good. But she'll come back and say, oh, okay, I'm going to send you this chart. and give you that structure. So I think you need a certain level of structure there to be excellent. Don't get me wrong. But I think you can work outside of that and improv a lot of that perfection too.
Yeah.
It's some beauty to that. I like to call it organized chaos.
Yeah. I can
It's
see
some
that.
beauty to it.
Yeah.
You can, I think for us as a people, we have learned to integrate street vernacular, broken language, along with black excellence, using our words correctly, enunciating those words right. We've learned how to artistically position those words, metaphors, and we know how to fill them in a sense, just what you said.
Yeah.
Poetry.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, it's our canvas. It becomes our canvas.
Yeah. I love a big word.
See,
I love a big word.
CJ like a big word.
Yeah. Well, and I was telling him last time, in arguments,
God.
like Facebook arguments or like just arguments, I don't know why, but the biggest, I mean, they'd be right.
Right.
But the biggest words, like, they just come. It's like battle rapping almost.
See,
like,
I'm gonna tell you right
you
now.
know what I'm saying?
You ain't gonna debate with Jay because
No.
I'll get in here and I'll probably say, "Jay,
Come on, bro.
come on, bro."
Well, but clarity
Pull
is
out
key.
Siri, be like,
Right.
translate
Yeah.
this, please.
Yes,
Clarity
right
is
now.
always key, though, because
Okay, yeah.
my whole point is that a lot of people talk, and you threw a word in there to sound smarter that didn't really work, and now the context is off.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I feel like if you understand the topic, you can explain it simply.
You can.
Like if I asked you how to make something,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I wear shirts. You could tell me how to sew a shirt, I'm
Yes.
sure, so that at least I understood the process.
Yes.
Now I ain't gonna go home and do it.
Right.
But I'm sure you could break
wanted to
right.
know.
And if you tell me
Yeah.
about this stitch and that stitch, like all these names, I'm not gonna remember that.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, you ever drawn with crayons? And you know how you do this? Well, this is what I do with that. Like
Yeah.
I can relate anything to anything.
Sure.
And that's one of my my friends always talk about metaphors. Like I can do an analogy or metaphor to literally anything. Probably to sports too. Like I probably tie it to sports, but just in general.
Wow.
It's so funny because me and Jay had that conversation, talking with someone on this podcast who used these extremely extensive vocabularies. Nothing wrong with it.
Right.
But a couple times I was like, bro, can you be easy?
Let's
Yeah.
dumb it
All
down.
right.
That's why I'd be like, can you dumb it down for me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Just dumb it down.
A little dumber. A little
Yeah.
dumber.
Please.
Come down a little bit, fam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
That ain't it.
Yeah,
That ain't
and,
it.
And that they both kind of tie. So to the original question for you, I feel like that's a value question for us. It's like, and you said like it dumbs my value down for that
Yeah,
product,
yeah,
but
yeah,
just
yeah,
in general
yeah,
as
yeah.
a person, if I don't know what I'm supposed to know, or if I can't participate in this conversation, then my value as a person is diminished. So I can't afford to have you see me do something wrong.
Right.
And
got
honestly,
you.
coaching kids helped me with that. Like,
Wow.
Really?
Because training adults was different. Because adults will challenge you, and you be like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Hey, did you just say that?
yeah. Well, so like you're doing a group training, right? I'd have 30 people, let's say.
I love it.
30 people doing a software training.
Yeah.
Well, 2 or 3 of them don't want to do this new software.
Right.
And so they're going to try to embarrass whoever bought the software in the first place. So the whole time they just, well, why does it do that?
Yeah.
It didn't do that when I said it. And this button don't work. And just, they're just going to talk the whole time.
Yeah.
So I'd embarrass them just like I'd do a middle schooler interrupting my
sir.
class.
Yes,
like,
sir.
oh, hold on a second. She's got a question. And, I'm going to give you a microphone. Here. Just
Yeah.
come on up and do all of them.
Yeah.
And so by the time I finish, you actually helped me train everybody else. Because now that I done shut you up, they're on board. And 2, like I answered all your actual questions.
Sure.
Those people end up speaking the most highly.
Yeah.
Oh, he was so great because he helped me answer. You don't know that you was irritating me and that you basically tried to ruin the trade, and I had to turn that around. And so then with the kids, I backed off a little. It was a little
Sure.
more sensitive.
Yeah.
Because you just got to assume they don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You would not be here
Yeah.
doing a sport you love or in this class that you want to take if you didn't want to learn this. So it's
Yeah.
not that. It's not, you're not being obstinate for that reason.
Come on, man.
You just don't know.
You
so
just
I'm going to
don't
treat you
know.
like you don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take it personal, even though it sounded real personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But sometimes you get real personal
Your
with
tone,
kids,
your
and
tone
you
was
know,
personal. Your tone was definitely
Like-
personal. But I'm not going to take it that way. What I'm going to do is say, okay, well, let's start from where you are and what you understand, and let's go forward. Half the time, those kids are going to get it done. They're going to come back around. They're going to thank you. A lot of times, their parents are thanking you, like,
Yeah.
wow, never anybody explained it that way.
Sure.
And it's because you take yourself out of it.
Yeah.
I find value in that, but I need to be right.
Yeah.
And I used to joke with them. You feel free to use this.
Oh, I'm going to use it. I'm telling you right now.
I used to joke with them. I would say, look, if I'm talking, I'm right. And so they took it like, oh, you think you right all the time. Like, so we were on the bus and they're like, well, you know, Coach Jeff thinks he's always right. I said, no, that's not what I said. I said, if I'm talking, I'm right.
I love it.
Because I'm not always talking. Right. And if I don't know, I'm not going to talk.
I'm not going to talk.
I'm going to sit right over there and listen.
Yes.
And I might be counting in my head like that don't seem, but I'm not going to say nothing.
I'm not going to say a word.
Unless it's a question, if I don't know what I'm talking about. And they're like, oh.
I like that. I like that.
And so don't be the one who's, but you didn't put buttons where I said put the buttons.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well.
Don't be that.
How many shirts have you made? Well, none. Okay, well, then
why are we talking about
exactly.
this? Put the button where I said put the button.
Yeah, that color is that color because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
It was the best decision I can make at that time.
Yeah.
And I told them the reason you all suffer when you're trying to learn is because you're judging each other. Like, why'd they do this and why'd they do that? And so when you mess up, you scared that they're going to judge you like you judge them.
Yeah.
And once we take that step back and you say, okay, well, other photographers aren't going to judge my work that harshly. They get it. Other designers aren't going to judge my work that harshly. They get it.
Yeah.
The only people that are probably don't do either.
And it's like, why are you judging? You couldn't even sew a straight line if I gave you the machine and the fabric. So.
And even most professional critics have some experience in that, but they don't do that fully, which is why they're critics. Because if they were doing it fully, they might understand and they wouldn't ask some of those questions.
Yes.
Sportscasters on down the line.
Yes.
Part of your job is to ask those questions to get answers, but a lot of it is to stir up the social drama.
Come on, man.
And that's a job I don't want. Like I don't ever want to do those things because then you end up just pandering, and I don't want to do that. I want to have actual conversations, get some actual answers as best you can. Otherwise, you're wasting my time. I can be watching TV or making a sandwich or something. I don't know. I don't want to do that.
PB&J.
You know I roll with PB&J. You know me this long, and you know
PB&J, baby.
Hey, I can eat it all day.
Man, me too. I ain't gonna front. A glass of milk, man. I'm good. Yes, sir. That milk got to be cold too.
Ice cold.
Got to be ice cold.
I'm straight water.
Okay, I get it.
It's either water or liquor at this point. One or the other.
And they both clear.
Both are clear. I get it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, I hope you guys have heard something today. Jay, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate the value that you brought. And Deangelo, hey, looking forward to what's next, man.
Yes.
Looking forward to what's next for really both of you brothers, man. This has absolutely been an amazing conversation. I didn't know that it was going to. Well, yes, I did. Don't let me tell that lie.
Yeah, the way you was like, can you stay?
Can you stay?
I appreciate you joining us.
Of course, I appreciate you allowing me.
Oh, you are.
Yes, man. I'm so glad that you decided to stay because I'm a little spoiled and I just asked and I said, hey, you know, it'd be nice if you stayed. We can have this conversation. You know, it's okay for your friends to spoil you every now and again, you know. So this has absolutely been an amazing conversation. And, you know, guys, we have to do this again. We have to do this again and even go even deeper into some other conversations. Hope you guys have heard something today that can help you become a better you. I'm Chris Ross, and this is the Ross Cloud Podcast. Make it a great day and keep being great. Peace.